Hi there. Welcome to the Big O. We are at track 1 right now, getting ready for game 2. We're going to see Rose City Rollers, Axles of Annihilation, take on Denver Roller Derby, Bruising Altitude. We are a few minutes out from the beginning of that first jam. I am Regrettal. I'm joined here on the mic this afternoon by...
I am Puns and Roses.
And we are going to read out your rosters to you. I'll let Puns start with this. Puns, you're familiar with the Rose City Rollers roster. Why don't you tell us who those are?
Yes, I am. All right, the Axles of Annihilation are number 0, Zip. Number 12, Guns. 125 is Macias. 136, Katie Quick. 160, Sprout. 21, Stan the Woman. 24, Beans. Number 3, Polly. 31, Toxic Haste. 316, Evangelical. 360, Big Bang Fury. 424, Tegan and Scaria. 426 is Ripley. 516 is Irie. And 777 is Rosemary's Baby.
I will let you know who's playing for Denver's Bruising Altitude today. We have 10 Unprotected Lex, 1117 Chop Chop, 117 Mussolini, 128 Coco Loco, 1337 Glitterous, 212 Clam, 27 Gobrecht, 40 Speedlejuice, 406 Elwood, 52 Andy, 56 Diosa Azteca, 7 Evil X, 91 Watson Siribo, 949 Coyote, 98 Thorns. We are looking at the beginning of Jam 1 here. Waiting on that rolling whistle.
And we have in the white, number 52, Andy, and in the purple, number 0, Zip. Five seconds has been called.
Some jockeying there at the jam line just before that jam starts.
Zip Drive pushing the front of the pack. Andy almost escapes.
Some quick offense there right off the line towards the front of the pack, trying to get that purple jammer through. They get hit to the outside.
Coyote with a nice recycle there. Coyote last line of defense. Oh, Andy almost out. Andy is out. Andy is your lead jammer. Zip right on her heels.
That pack is starting to move quick. Both sets of blockers trying to get themselves in position to not give up their point. 516 they're caught at the back of the pack. That is a quick call off by 5-2, looking to pick up that point from 5-6. Success with that 1 point, matched right away by Denver. We are 1 point each in this first jam.
I'm liking the start of this so far.
Yeah, an even start. Both teams are using a similar technique. They both quickly went into some offense right off the line.
Next up, we will see Coco Loco in the white, Polly in the purple. Pack moves back. And Polly quickly through, is your lead jammer.
That was some nice movement. The entire pack there making some anti-clockwise movement that just moved everything away from that outside line, gave Polly that clear line through.
Stan the Woman caught Coco Loco. Coco Loco almost broke free on the inside. Stan with a great force out and recycle.
Coco Loco looking to divide attention there with that helmet cover in hand. That's initial pass completed by Coco Loco. That's number 3, Polly, not willing to give up any points from Denver. 4 points Denver. Sorry, 4 points to Rose City, no points Denver.
And next up, we will see number 7, Evil X in the white, 316, Evangelical in the purple. So far, the penalty box is empty. Wow, Evil X extending, Ripley stopping that.
There was some great toe stop balancing there. That apex outside line was left available for 316. That is lead to Evangelical.
Beans with a big force out. Long drawback by Toxic Haste on Evil X. Evil X has been reaching for the star. Plays a little jammer defense. Oh, Evangelical somehow kept her toe stops in.
That is a back blocking penalty going to the pivot from Rose.
And that was the defender that was assigned to Gobrecht. So Gobrecht took that star pass.
first star pass of this game. I'm looking forward with this these B-level teams to see how those star passes are used strategically to try to get those points through the pack.
Well, these are both top-level. I mean, they're the B squads, but they're the B squads of very high top-level teams, the 1 and the 3 teams respectively. So
that's right. We're looking at feeder teams here for the 1 and 3 teams on the WFTBA. That is lead to 1117 Chop Chop from Denver.
And Guns quickly out, about a half lap behind. Rose picking up, Chop Chop through. Rose having a bit of penalty trouble. They'll be starting this next jam with a 4-2 pack advantage, or disadvantage.
That was Chop Chop picking up 4 points for Denver at the end of that jam, denying points to Rose. That's a switch so far in 4 jams in. We're seeing a pivot line start for both teams here. Rose down 2 blockers. They decide to stick close to those Denver blockers to try to tighten up the pack there at the front of the engagement zone.
Beans and Toxic Haste are a formidable blocking duo. But even the 2 of them combined can't hold forever.
That is Speedlejuice as lead for this 5th jam.
Zip cap in hand. Denver now shedding some blockers. Coyote last line of defense on Zip.
949 keeping that chest-to-chest contact with Zip. Clam in there with the assist.
Clam now being sent to the box on a penalty. And Coyote finally has to let Zip go.
That brings Denver down to 2 blockers on the track at the moment. Denver did have leads, so control of that was with Denver. Denver calls that jam off with 3 points.
And Rose will start the next one with a 4-2 pack advantage. For Tegan and Scaria will be a Rose jammer. Andy jamming for the Bruising Altitude. And there we go. Tegan and Scary pushing to the front of that pack. Andy working hard in the back. Rosemary's Baby and Company are not able to contain Andy. Andy is through.
There's an open line there on the outside of that apex. That gets Tegan and Scaria, our Rose jammer, through the pack. Initial pass completed. Both jammers right now in scoring position. That call-off comes with Rose jammer quite close. 2 points picked up for Denver. And Rose manages to get ahead. 3 points Rose.
That was a great hustle there by Zip to steal those 3.
We've got 2 familiar jammers on the jam line right now. Both of these jammers have been out once already. Number 128 in white, that's Coco Loco, facing number 3, Polly.
And Polly almost finds the inside lane, gets forced out by Elwood. Elwood heading to the bench on that. Coco Loco moving laterally, just no holes there.
Absolutely, that is a lot of lateral movement. That is holding Coco Loco at the back, though. Those Rose blockers are responding quickly. Rose is your lead right now. That is a scoring pass that has just been completed by Polly.
Coco Loco's taken off the star, but there's no pivot there to hand to. And Polly picks up another 4. Denver going mostly offense at this point. Macias heading to the box. We're now 3-3 in the pack.
We're in jam 7 right now, and this is the first jam where we've seen multiple scoring passes. This is 12 points so far to Rose in this jam.
And now Rose shedding blockers.
Both pivots currently in the hit this penalty box. That leaves both jammers working on their own in the pack.
And Coco Loco is now free on a scoring pass.
Pivot Coyote has been released from the penalty box. That's more help on the track there for Coco Loco.
Polly, great footwork on the edge there. 4 points in the air for Coco Loco. Looks like Rose is running this to free some blockers.
Not a bad move. When you've got 16 points so far in a jam, let's free those blockers, get the maximum number of people on the track. They're definitely ahead in point ratio on that jam.
And that worked. Irish Strider was released, so it is now going to be a 4-3 pack advantage for Rose in the next jam.
Our current score sits at 14 Denver, 31 Rose. Looking at our weighting of these teams coming into this, on flat track stats, Axles of Annihilation are ranked number 20, Bruising Altitude ranked number 27. That little disparity is starting to show up in our score right now. We've got a lead to Eve and Helical of Rose.
And Chop Chop recycled behind that Rose defense. I feel like those flat track stats are meaningful, but somehow have a little bit less meaning this early in the season just because there's so much change in all these teams. There's certainly plenty of new faces on Rose that I recognize. Or I guess that I don't necessarily recognize.
That's a completed scoring pass there for Rose, and a star pass has taken place for Denver. Active jammer is now 949 Coyote.
And Evangelical calls that off. Looks like she caught a bit of track there, went head over heels.
That was both of those passes. Evangelical had a little bit of a trip up. 8 points went to Evangelical in that jam.
First appearance on the jammer line for 27.
And Gobrecht, first appearance on the line for the Bruising Altitude up against Guns. Everybody crowded together there at the start of this jam.
I'll let you cut to my scoreboard, my score sheet at halftime. We're in jam number 9.
Gobrecht working outside to in, almost got through, but Toxic Haste closed the door. Guns N' Roses looks for the outside, finds it, oh! Slips past that Denver defense, barely.
That is some hard pushing there by Gobrecht. We could see them almost bent double, pushing against that Rose tripod. Heavy anchor, strong position.
And forearm call up at the front. That is going against Denver. Looks like Watson Cirabo.
4 points to Rose in that scoring pass.
Toxic Haste last line of defense against Gobrecht with the force out and the recycle, and Guns through easy for 4.
That inside line left zipped straight up at 4 more points to Guns.
And looks like we have a star pass now, and that has been successful. Thorns is now out, and Guns with the call off.
Ties the highest jam of the game.
That was 16 points for the Axles of Annihilation. Score currently AOA 55, Bruising Altitude 14.
That's the second time we've seen a 16-point jam so far in this game. We're 9 jams in, and we're seeing Rose put up some of those larger jams. Let's see how Denver continues to capitalize on those star passes to try to get those points through the pass.
Yeah, Denver's been doing very well with those star passes. Andy moving to the front. Andy's already had lead before, looking to continue that streak. Oh, Coyote, big drawback on Zip.
Andy's still working at the front of the pack there.
And Big Bang Fury heading to the box. That helps. And Andy is through. Is your lead jammer.
This is the 3rd time we've seen Andy out jamming in this game. Each time Andy has gotten lead.
Andy had a lot of success last night against Montreal as well.
For your social media use this weekend while you're watching the Big O, use hashtag Big O 2019 in all your tournament posts.
cat pictures. Cat pics are always welcome.
Your cat watching derby, top of the heap.
Yes. All right, we have Polly stumbling around.
Beetlejuice recycled to the back.
Oh, Polly picks up a track cut.
That leaves lead still open for Beetlejuice.
And Beetlejuice only has 1 to beat, now 2.
This is our first jammer penalty of the game. That means this is our first power jam we're watching.
Irie, big hit and force out. Big Bang Fury back on. Beetlejuice finally through. Is your lead jammer.
Blocker 406, Elwood out of the penalty box, signaling Beetlejuice with some offensive action as they return to the pack.
Beetlejuice gets a nice seal from her blockers on the inside. And there's the call-off.
That call-off happens just after the Rose jammer is released from the box. This has us both jammers on the track as we enter Jam 12.
Excellent defense by Rose to limit that to 2 points.
We see a timeout being called by Denver. Rydell, experience the game-changing Solaris. The performance you demand, the comfort you've been missing.
This is a good timeout by Denver. Halfway through the first, a little bit behind, allows you to talk about things, maybe try to change the momentum of the game.
We're seeing some interesting use of leads and call-offs here on the part of both teams. When Rose has had lead, they've put up some really high-scoring jams. They've had 5 of the leads so far, 11 jams into the game. 6 of those leads have then gone to Denver. Denver's having to do a hit and quit because Rose is quickly getting their jammers out right behind them when Denver has had lead.
And we are back. Chop Chop and Evangelical. Rose starting the pivot line, backing up. And we're off. Chop Chop hits the back of the pack, spins around Big Bang Fury, is your lead jammer.
That's a bit of a switch up for Chop Chop. Each time Chop Chop has been jamming so far, they had gotten lead. So this is the first time a Denver jammer has beaten Chop Chop off the line.
Evangelical forced out, but the jammer, or the Elwood, was the blocker that forced her out. Called on a penalty, and there's
we've
the
got
call.
a blocker in the penalty box. This is going to cause a pack advantage for Rose going into jam number 13.
And once again, just like you said after the last jam, just a hit it and quit it for Denver. Picked up 3 and called it.
3 lead jams, 3 lead jams. 3 in a row, 3 in a row, 3 in a row.
Next up, we'll see Andy and Guns.
We're seeing a bit of a pattern in leads here between these jams. We had 3 leads go to Denver, then 3 leads go to Rose, then back to 3 leads Denver. We may be switching back to our 3 for Rose. This is a lead Rose, your jammer Guns.
Oh, Guns, phenomenal skate work on the outside. Brushes off a hit through for 4. And we've got a star pass now to Gobrecht.
That makes this our 4th star pass for Denver.
And the second to number 27.
This is the second time number 27 took that star pass.
And we will see, looks like a 4-3 pack advantage for Denver as Irie heads the box on a late direction of play penalty.
Third jam for 1-2.
4-2 pack advantage. Denver. Tegan and Scaria and Coco Loco. Oh, huge hit on Coco Loco by Rosemary's Baby.
This is the second time we've seen Tegan and Scaria out there as a jammer for Rose.
Stan the Woman. Coco Loco. Lots of contact there.
That's right, a nice hit to the outside, and then that line left open, so that run back happened really efficiently.
Coco Loco, your lead jammer, but after about 25 seconds, great two-person defense there by Rose.
That's Coco Loco's first lead so far this game.
Tegan and Scaria pushing deep into that Denver wall. Big offensive clear out by Rosemary's Baby. Denver reforms, though. Direction of play penalty. Tegan and Scaria is out on the initial.
Once again, we see Denver using that hit and quit, controlling the point bleed to Rose.
That was a very timely call-off.
White blockers on direction. Both white blockers.
We have 2 Denver blockers currently in the hit this penalty box. Both of those blockers sitting there due to direction of gameplay penalties.
And everyone lined up at the Eugene Weekly jam line. Zip and Speedlejuice. Zip gets some offensive help from Toxic Haste.
This is the second time we've seen these 2 jammers play against each other. Last time the lead went to Speedlejuice. This time it's gone to Zip.
Once again, Toxic Haste playing offense.
We got 4 points. Rose on that first scoring pass.
And Speedlejuice has removed the star. Oh, Zip. A little bit of an apex hop over Thorns.
Denver still working on getting that helmet cover through the pack. That is a star pass to get that through successfully. Your active jammer now 2-7 Gobrecht.
That's what, the third time Gobrecht's taken the star?
That sure is. All right, Hit This penalty box getting a little bit of action today. Hit This derby gear has everything you need to get rolling, from skates to protective gear and unmatched service for all your derby needs. Before you hit the track, hit this.
All right, next up we'll see Evil X and Polly.
This is the first time we've seen Evil X on the jam line since the 3rd jam of the game.
And Polly very quickly takes lead jam.
Back blocking penalty sends Rose blocker number 777, Rosemary's Baby, to the penalty box.
Nothing doing for Evil X. And there's the call off from Polly, picked up 3. Oh, that was a medical call off.
Let's talk a little bit to our fans that are listening out there to us about what kind of action we've seen on the track so far this game. We have had 16 jams so far, and we have another 10 minutes yet to go in this game. These jams are not running immediately short. Like, we're seeing some play. We're seeing like a minute's worth of play out of a lot of these jams. How you're quite familiar with watching Rose yourself. What are you seeing out there compared to what you usually see with their gameplay?
I'm seeing really good discipline in terms of penalties. We've had a few 4-2 pack advantages for either side, but not a whole lot of like long streams of blockers going in and out of the box. That's been a problem that both teams have sort of had over time. There are still some penalty trouble. Elwood in particular is up to 4 at this point. No one on Rose has more than 2. So generally fairly controlled play.
I would agree with that. We're looking at like 10 penalties total there for Rose, and 14 to Denver. As you said, four of those went to Elwood alone. So those teams are not really shedding a lot of support for their jammers throughout those jams. We're still seeing our leads going pretty strongly to Denver. We saw a little pattern there of back and forth of like 3 to Denver, 3 to Rose, 3 to Denver. That pattern got a little bit mixed up there by the time we got to jam 13, 14. That started to go back and forth a little bit more. We're seeing Denver try to pick it up faster. They're using those star passes a lot.
Yeah, they've made great use of that to limit the damage from Rose.
That's right. We've seen 5 of those star passes so far, and I think 3 of those have gone to number 2-7. That is Gobrecht. So a lot of reliance by our jammers, knowing that Gobrecht is going to be their person to go to get that helmet cover through the pack.
Yeah, and Gobrecht's done a great job with that. We are seeing a fair number of forearm penalties. Denver's picked up a ton of those. Rose, only 3 of their penalties have been forearms, but about half of Denver's have been forearms. So that's something I think Denver's going to really need to talk about in particular, because the refs seem to be looking particularly hard at that particular penalty.
That's right. That tells us a little bit about our refereeing crew, too, and what they're looking at today. We have a really large contingent of NSOs and skating officials with us today. Some of these are more familiar with seeing Rose play than seeing Denver. Being that we are in the Pacific Northwest,
Yes.
we're having a good draw of officials that are used to seeing certain styles of play.
Yes, and that could have an impact as well.
Sure can. We're waiting out while our medical team takes care of a skater. Our crowd is applauding as the medical team gets that skater moving. We will return to gameplay when we have medical staff cleared and able to keep everybody safe. I'll tell you about Chicks in Bowls. Chicks in Bowls is online. Visit cibcrew.com and use sale code Big O, yeah, that's BIGOYEAH for 10% off hardware, such as slide blocks and wheels. That code is active until the end of the Big O weekend. That is Sunday evening, 8:30 Pacific time. That is Evil X being taken care of by the medic crew. We're getting ready to move into Jam 17 now. We've got 5-2 Andy on the line for Denver. Number 316 in purple. That is Evil and Helica.
And Gobrecht once again wearing that pivot stripe for Denver.
This is the first time we've seen Andy and Evan Helical.
We have upgraded Purple's 136 for egregious forearm. She will be ejected from the game.
All right, we have had an ejection on Katie Quick of Rose for an egregious forearm. And they are off. Andy burst through, is your lead jammer. Evan Helical still working against the pack. And there's the Rose defense engaging Andy. Only 2 defenders on the track for Rose right now. 4 for Denver.
It is 4 points to Denver in that initial scoring pass.
Rosemary's Baby back out onto the track.
Initial pass is completed by Evan Helical. That jam gets called off with the hit this penalty box empty.
And next up we'll see Chop Chop in the white, Guns in the purple.
Chop Chop had a really big jam earlier in this game. In Jam 9, Chop Chop got 16 points in a single jam with their lead.
And Chop Chop and Guns both working energetically.
Last time we saw these 2 jammers up against each other was in Jam 4. 1117 took lead that time.
Ripley and Big Bang Fury holding the line. There goes Guns. Guns is your lead jammer.
Now, earlier I think I said that it was Chop Chop that had picked up the 16 points in one jam. I had the wrong jammer when I said that. Looking at my list, that had been Guns.
And Coyote has taken the star, is your jammer of record now for bruising altitude. Guns with a little hop there.
Both teams with blockers sitting in the penalty box.
And late back block against Chop Chop.
That's going to force a power start.
Oh, the star had been passed.
Oh, the star had been passed. Thank you very much.
So it'll be Speedlejuice and Zip. Oh, we have an official review right now. Called by Denver.
Video replay official. Video replay official.
We have a new technique being tried out here on track 1 at the Big O this year. The officials are trying using a video replay so that they can get a better look on some of the action when we know how it's so difficult sometimes for officials to be able to see everywhere at once. So this is our first trial with the WFTDA of using a video review.
This will be interesting to see. I mean, certainly when you've got the elevated viewpoint from the cameras up on the platforms, it does give you a different perspective than you would get sort of down low. Although the distance makes it also difficult in some ways too. But an additional tool doesn't hurt.
That's right. So many times, you know, you can be watching Derby. Let's hear what our head official has to say.
White is looking to remove the back block issued to white jammer.
Okay, White wants to remove the back block against Chop Chop at the end of that particular, at the end of that jam.
So, and there was some interesting wording in that request for review where they said they wanted to remove that back block from the jammer. So we did have a star pass towards the end of that. So if they do get that removed, that means that they will have one less penalty on somebody that is one of their jammers, but it won't necessarily affect the jammer position at the beginning of the next jam.
Correct.
Our video review official, bringing the screen out there for the officials to take a look at, that is Razor. So Razor doing some groundbreaking work this weekend for the WFTDA.
You could say Razor is on the cutting edge.
Oh my goodness. We're continuing to see that trend of star passes being used by Denver. We're up to 6 star passes so far in this game, and only Denver using it. So when Denver has had lead, Rose has not used that same strategy of passing the helmet cover through the pack.
They really haven't had to. They've usually been able to get their jammer out very quickly when Denver gets that lead. So you really haven't had those extended situations where Rose has felt the need to do a star pass.
That's right. And when we're at jam 18, we've only got 8 jams where they haven't had points. Let's hear what our head official has to say.
Official view will be lost. Penalty will stand. Back block.
All right, that penalty stands. Denver loses its official review. With 8 minutes left in this first half, we are ready to start.
We've got Speedlejuice versus Zip. This is a replay of what we saw lined up in jam number 5.
And Speedlejuice working against 4 Rose blockers. Zip is through, is your lead jammer.
These two jammers also faced each other in jam 15, and that jam, we saw the same lead go to Zip. Zip picked up 8 points in that earlier one. Back and forth between these two jammers as to who's getting lead when they face each other.
Zip tried for an apex jump, was denied, had to go through the pack the hard way.
We've had trade out of blockers in the hit this penalty box for Denver.
And Speedlejuice forced out and recycled. Has the star in hand. Gobrecht, as always, it seems, is ready to take that star. Oh,
That's a low block penalty on Rose blocker 125.
and Zip goes for another apex jump. Lands a little bit short, has to reset.
Both groups moving back, trying to tighten up that pack.
Big Bang Fury and Beans not giving Speedlejuice anything.
Speedlejuice still with that helmet cover in hand. We've seen a lot of star passes from Denver. We haven't seen that happen yet in this jam. Multiplayer penalty removes Denver blocker.
And Toxic Haste had been guarding the Denver pivot, moved to offense.
2-1-2 Clam in there trying to give some offense to Speedlejuice.
And Big Bang Fury with that force out there on the inside and the recycle. Zip through, and that's the end of that jam.
That was a 24-point jam for Rose. That is the highest scoring jam we've seen so far. Earlier in the game, we'd seen a couple of 16-point jams. That was blown away here in jam number 14. Sorry, jam number 19.
Watson Cirabo throwing on a little bit of an athletic display for the fans there before standing up and getting ready for this next jam, which will feature Polly, who is your lead jammer, against Coco Loco, out quickly behind.
Coco Loco looking to chase those points down. Both jammers able to score.
And there's a call off.
Well-timed call-off. 4 points go to Rose, no points to Denver in that 20th jam.
A little bit of a tangle there, but the skaters get up, cheerfully chatting as they head toward their respective benches. And next up, we'll see Andy and Tegan and Scaria. What, Andy's about 7th jam?
This is the second time we've seen Andy and Tegan and Scaria against each other, though.
Last time it was a 4-2 pack advantage for Denver, and Tegan and Scaria really struggled. Tegan and Scaria picks up a track cut, so this is power jam to Andy. Last line of defense is Toxic Haste.
And with that, we've got lead to Denver. That is our first lead with Denver in about 4 jams.
And here comes that Denver offense. Irie, Toxic Haste and company slowing down Andy.
This second power jam of the game is being really mixed up by that Denver Chaos offense.
Great work by Mussolini to open a huge hole last time around.
Gobrex this time moving some hit to the outside. That hit to the outside removed blocker 2 for Beans. Beans just waited that out before returning to the track rather than risk the direction of gameplay. That return didn't happen quite well enough. That direction of gameplay penalty did get called against Bean. They're joined right after by Pivich. That puts 2 blockers for Denver in the penalty box right now.
Team that's scary still has not made the initial pass. Another scoring pass in for Denver. Andy's picked up 8 so far.
It's another recycle to the back for Tegan and Scaria. Comes right back into a solid braced tripod. That tripod is joined by their 4th blocker.
The pivot Toxic Haste back on the track, and Tegan and Scary has removed the penalty, or removed the star. Does not matter since Toxic Haste is heading back to the penalty box.
This is the highest scoring jam for any Denver jam so far in this game. It was a 16-point jam.
And this is something they really need.
It's the first time we've had a full 2-minute jam as well in this game. We've got another 2.5 minutes left of gameplay.
So we should have time for at least 2 jams.
And it represents a third of their score.
That last jam, we saw Denver's score go up by a third. That was only the second time we'd seen a multi-pass score run by Denver. Your jammer right now, Chop Chop, with a hit to the inside from Denver. That takes a recycle behind 3 of those Rose blockers.
Meanwhile, at the front, Denver shedding blockers. Evangelical has 2 to beat now. Just 1, and is your lead jammer. Big Bang Fury closes off the inside on Chop Chop.
Chop Chop, really stationary at the back. You can see a lot of dynamic movement, a lot of effort of play, but not a lot of actual momentum getting through for Chop Chop. That hit starts some recycling happening.
Oh, Evangelical goes airborne. Picks up 4 on the apex. Yeah, that is a very tough defensive crew that Rose has out there right now. It's terrifying that these blockers are on the B team for Rose.
And you look at the work of that brace too. Those blockers are really working together and not relying heavily on that brace. That brace has not got, like, sometimes you'll see that tight grip that makes it so that the brace is the one doing the work. That's not what we saw that time. We have seen a star pass now. That makes Coyote your active jammer. That jam is called off before Coyote has a chance to pick up points.
9, 4, 9, and 2, 7 each have 3 star pass. The star has been passed 3 times.
We're seeing Denver get some good pairings happening and good and consistent pairings happening with their pivot work. So Coyote has taken several of those star passes. We've also seen Gobrecht take several of those star passes. It's looking like a pretty consistent technique on the part of Denver. We saw a hit to the outside followed by the blocker moving out, so a no pass, no penalty. But then the next time they got that hit to the outside, there was a cut track penalty earned. That puts the Denver jammer in the penalty box.
And Guns is your lead jammer now.
This is the first time we've seen a...
and Guns picks up a track cut.
Oh, we have a trade in the penalty box. So that had been, I think, our first power jam in favor of Rose, but that was quickly lost.
Coco Loco back on the track, through on the initial.
We're definitely going to have a full 2-minute jam on this one, with both jammers having been in the penalty box. Scoring position for Denver. Initial, I think, still needs completed for Rose. Oh, that was an initial completed earlier on. So this is 4 points to Rose in this scoring pass.
And there goes a little bit of offense from Beans. And now Denver getting some offense in. Can't see the number on that particular skater. That was unprotected Lex. Unprotected Lex picks up a penalty, though. And 4 points in the air for Coco Loco. 4 points in the air for Guns. 4-2 pack advantage now for Rose.
Both of our blockers sitting in the penalty box right now are there for forearm penalties. Still consistent on what we're seeing on calls from our official crews. That was some nice line work on the outside of that apex for Rose. 4 more points on that last scoring pass.
Rose official review.
And official review Rose at the end of this half.
All right, we are at about half a minute until we return to gameplay, according to our intermission clock. We were able to take a look there at a lot of the action that happened in that first half today. Both teams are going to be down one skater as we go into this second half. We'll see how that changes any of their techniques. One team lost a blocker, one team lost a jammer.
I think Denver's going to have the harder struggle with that, just because replacing a jammer in the rotation.
The official review is that white jammer did actually cut, and it will be reporting to the box. Official review will be made.
White jammer starting in the box on a cut.
All right, there was an official review at the end of the first half. The official review has determined that there was a track cut by Coco Loco, who picks up a second cut, and will start this next jam in the box.
That's right. That gives us a power start then for Polly.
So there have been now 5 total jammer penalties. All have been track cuts. And that 4-2 pack advantage for Rose works very well. Polly easily through. Big seal on the outside. Polly picks up 4. Denver up to 3, now 4 blockers. So Polly may not have quite as easy of a time. Back block on Polly.
That will switch the direction this goes. They were lead, so now lead is lost. This will be a 2-minute jam as we see 1-2-8 Coco Loco return from the penalty box with a power jam.
Toxic Haste working hard against Coco Loco. Also Ripley making sure that she has a hard time through that pack. Great offense though from Gobrecht, opens a hole. And Coco Loco found that hole, followed it through. Here comes that Denver offense trying to open a hole for Coco Loco again. Polly back on the track.
That quick return from the penalty box by Polly looks like it might have caught Denver a little bit by surprise. They were kind of spread out there looking to do some offense for Coco Loco. That left some open opportunities. Polly got through that with this scoring pass. That hit took both Polly and the blocker to the outside. So no pass, no penalty on that, but 3 points picked up for Polly in that scoring pass.
Yeah, that was a huge hit from Thorns. Polly back through for 4. Coco Loco still working on that initial scoring pass.
Nice, nice.
Oh, Polly with great skate control there.
That added up to a 19-point jam there for Rose on our first jam of the second half. 4 points did get out to Denver. That number is going up. We now have 19 points to Rose. That creeps up close to our high-scoring jams of the first half. We still own that. Number 0, Zip, still owns that high-scoring jam accolade. Zip currently jamming for Rose and is lead.
Chop Chop pushing to the front of the pack and picks up a track cut. Sprout had a push out on Chop Chop. Chop Chop apparently did not see Sprout sprint to the back and came in for the cut.
A little bit of backwards pushing and skating there. Success for Zip. That is 4 points on their first scoring pass.
Watson Cirabo stuck at the back of that pack.
Pack being maintained by holding that defensive blocker.
And there's Zip with the call off.
That freezes the Denver jammer in the penalty box. forces a power start in favor of Rose. Rose puts out 3-1-6. That is Evangelical.
Chop Chop is standing, so this will not be a long power start.
You can see both teams preparing for that, keeping everybody close to the pivot line. With a start like that, you're expecting to see a runaway, which is exactly what we saw. That tends to spread out your pack a bit, though, may provide the advantage that Evangelical needs. But also with that spread out, we've got some opportunity for Chop Chop at the back of the pack.
Well, Evangelical is a very fast jammer, so having that spread pack works to her advantage, I believe.
That's right, and lead then did go to Evangelical, but that little bit of spread out of the pack also made it so Chop Chop was able to get through quickly, and that forces the call-off with just 1 point to Rose in that. A multiplayer penalty assessed towards the end of that jam. That's going to weaken the number of blockers on the track for Rose.
Given the situation for that start, that a 1 point jam is kind of a victory for Denver there. And we'll see Andy up against Polly on the next jam. And there they go. Andy hits the back of that pack. Polly finds just a tiny bit of edge on the outside. Is your lead jammer.
There was a nice hit on that far apex there, throwing that blocker completely out of the way. That cleared a lot of real estate for Polly. Initial pass also completed by Andy.
Watson Cirabo picks up a 6th penalty. Big Bang Fury holding back Andy, but Andy finally threw. Both teams at 3 blockers each.
So we had a no pass, no penalty in that first scoring pass. So Rose only put up 3 points in their first pass, while Denver put up 4. Then in this second, we got 4 points to Rose and 2 points to Denver. So we saw a trade-off of advantage during that one jam. Rose coming out ahead, 7 points to 6 points.
And this will be 3-3 in the pack for the next jam, featuring Speedojuice and Guns. Oh, Guns gets upended by Thorn. And Speedojuice grabs lead from the outside.
That's the first lead this half for Denver. They haven't had lead since Jam 21 back in the first half there.
And Guns through on the inside edge. Rose and Denver both losing blockers at the end of that.
Purple as a cut, white as a forearm.
There's a cut pack going, cutting the track penalty going to
Looked like Macias.
Rose, yeah, and a forearm penalty going to Denver. We've got 2 Denver blockers and 1 Rose blocker in the penalty box as we look at starting this 6th jam of the second half.
Rose trades out blockers. We'll be seeing Zip for Rose up against Chop Chop.
The same lineup we saw in Jam 2 of this second half. In that jam, Zip was the lead. Let's see how that plays out in this one. We've got so few blockers on the track.
And we have a high block call, looks like, against Zip. Rose also lost Big Bang Fury. There are 2 skaters from each team in the pack right now, so we've got a bit of a diet pack.
Chop Chop taking advantage of that. Of course, you get points for those skaters that are in the penalty box, so 4 points to Chop Chop in that first scoring pass. Whole bunch of blockers, 3 blockers returning from the penalty box, 2 Denver and 1 Rose as we came through the straightaway there.
Stan the Woman with the drawback on Chop Chop. Big Bang Fury also returning to the action. Here comes Zip. We have an empty penalty box right now for, well, that ended quickly. And that's Macias back in on a direction of play penalty.
That pack is getting spread out as Zip moves through the front. It is initial completed for Rose. That ends with 8 points to Denver, no points to Rose. Interestingly, earlier in this, or throughout the course of this game, we've had no 0-0 jams so far. One team has always managed to put points on the board.
Even if it's only one, there's always been something.
That's right. Right back there at the very beginning in Jam 1, we saw each jammer pick up only 1 point.
And there we go. Andy against Evangelical.
Andy at the front gets pushed out. Not a lot of backward movement, so gets to stay at the front.
Rose losing a blocker.
To hit this penalty box, having a lot of in and out movement.
Rose has been struggling with pack penalties for the past couple of jams.
So that's 3 leads in a row for Denver.
Yeah, and I think that does really go back to Rose having a bit of a struggle right now keeping their blockers out of the box.
That's right. We're starting to see those numbers add up. We're looking at 5 penalties there for Adriana Macias. That's the highest number of penalties for any Rose blockers. But we do have a lot of penalties for the Denver blockers. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out through the course of this. We have a completed initial pass by Evangelical. 8 points go to Denver through that jam. This is the second time we've seen multiple scoring passes by Denver and no points arriving at Rose. So we've got 3 jams in a row now. Rose has failed to put points on the board. We're seeing a momentum shift. Let's see how far that continues.
And we have a timeout by Rose. I think this is a momentum timeout, trying to break that Denver push.
Looking at what's happening with our penalties here, we've got Watson Cerebo sitting with 6 penalties. 1 more, and that's the end of the game for them. We also have Elwood with 5 penalties. That's on Denver. We started this half pretty penalty heavy for Denver. It started with Rose having 18 penalties overall and Denver having 24, and 4 of those skaters sitting at 5 penalties. So we're seeing that kind of continue throughout this second half. We're 8 jams into it. Our jammer penalties too, you mentioned earlier, were really consistent. They were all cutting the track penalties. And we're continuing to see that too with our jammer penalties.
I believe all but 1 have been cutting the track. I think there was maybe like a high block that a Rose jammer got. But
that sounds right. We're starting this jam with number 40, Beetlejuice in white for Denver. 4-2-4, Tegan and Scaria in purple.
Denver gets lead, it'll be the first time they've had 4 in a row.
And Beetlejuice up to the front, grabs lead. That is their 4th in a row.
It's the first time we've seen 4 leads consecutively go to Denver, so this momentum shift is continuing to play out.
And Tegan and Scaria has removed the star cover.
4 points to Denver.
And 1 to beat for Tegan and Scaria. Tegan and Scaria is out.
That helmet cover is still in possession of Tegan and Scaria. That is not a star complete. There's not a pass complete, sorry.
And Elwood picked up, looks like an out of play. That is her 6th.
This is a 4 on purple's a 4 on white is in illegal position.
That was 8 points to Denver in that. So we've seen 3 jams go by where Denver has picked up 8 points. They've denied any points to Rose. We've seen Rose pick up no points in the last 4 jams. We've got quite a split in what our score is right now, but that momentum is shifting and Denver is trying to capitalize on that. Our current score as we start jam number 9 is 90 Denver, 167 Rose.
And that jam started with only 4 blockers total. 2 and 2. Zip took advantage of that early. There's the call off. No points scored.
And that is the end of a 28-0 streak. Rose comes back with their 4 points and refuses points to Denver.
And this jam will start off with a 3-2 pack advantage for the Axles of Annihilation. Guns in the purple, Coco Loco in the white.
Those Denver blockers sticking close to the Rose blockers, trying to use the sheer force of all those skaters together.
Oh no, Stan the Woman denied that lead with a huge hit.
Lead goes to Guns.
And Coco Loco now just enveloped in that pack. Guns comes in hot and fast. Rosemary's Baby. Oh, Big Bang Fury risking a high block there. No call. There's the recycle.
Guns with a look over their shoulder, looking for some offensive help. That help comes in.
Rosemary's Baby trying to exercise that Denver defense.
You can really see that divided attention there, as you've said, Rosemary Baby keeping an eye on how far away the pack is, when their opportunity to come in and cause some chaos against Denver. We've really got Guns and Coco Loco both stuck behind these tripods that are really mobile and really strong. We've got 4 Denver blockers at the front. Coyotes, our last line of defense. That's a clear for Guns and 4 points.
Coco Loco getting recycled now by Stan the Woman. Oh, Guns just blazes through.
It's a 12-point jam for Guns. No points on the board for Denver that jam. We're going to remind you, social media users, to send pictures of your pets enjoying the Big O from home. Use hashtag Big O Cats and hashtag Big O Dogs. We love to see our furry fans.
We don't have hashtags for rabbits or hedgehogs or any others, but you can use the hashtag Big O 2019 for those. We'd still love to see those pets too. And we're looking at an official timeout right now.
I'm just taking a look here at what we saw earlier in our first half for who had lead. Despite the difference that we see in score right now, those leads are actually pretty close. 13 leads went to Rose and 10 leads went to Denver. We were talking earlier in the game about how when Denver had lead, often they were able to do the hit and quit because Rose was chasing them out of the pack. We're seeing a little bit of that early on in this second half, but then we saw that wonderful walkaway of 4 jams in a row where Denver was getting lead, multiple scoring passes and denying points to Rose. That has shifted in jam 9 and 10. Rose then now capitalizing, taking all the points, and Denver losing out.
Well, you get into a second half of a hard-fought game like this, and the jammers start to wear down a little bit.
We're still looking at consistent numbers for our high scores. That high-scoring jam, 24 points went to Zip. That's number 0 from Rose City back in jam number 19. Our highest scoring points for Denver has been 20 points picked up by number 52. That's Andy. That was back in jam 21 of our first half. So we're seeing similar numbers in those high jams, 24 and 20, but we're just seeing a lot more of those from Rose.
All right. Official the officials conferred and added a low block call to stand the woman.
That takes the pivot out of play for Rose for the first 30 seconds.
And we have Andy up against Polly. Unprotected Lex. Huge force out on Polly at the back of that pack. Polly tiptoes on the inside edge, now at the front of the pack. Andy recycled to the back. And there goes Polly. Helmet cover is off.
That's right, that helmet. That is dividing the attention of those Rose blockers. Gives an opportunity for Andy to try to get some confused movement. Rose is not being fooled though. Eye on the prize. They see where that helmet cover is.
She's 6 for 8 the whole game as lead jammer.
And Andy forced out by Stan the Woman. Recycled to the back.
Polly having a great game so far. 8 times jamming. This is 6 leads for Polly.
And Polly with the call up there. 5 points picked up. Bring our score to 188 to 90. Axel's over the bruising altitude. And next up, Evangelical in the purple. Chop Chop in the white. Penalty box is empty. We have 5-on-5 skating. Evangelical breaks through. And Chop Chop also through.
Now that is consistent with what we've seen so far this game. When one jammer has completed initial shortly after the first jammer has become lead, points scored and call off. Both of these teams are not looking to run jams long when points are on the line.
Derby Warehouse. Visit derbywarehouse.com for all your Derby gear needs with free shipping and free returns. And speaking of returns, we were returning to the track with Speedlejuice and Tegan and Scaria. And Speedlejuice. Speedlejuice is your lead jammer.
That breaks a 4-jam lead streak for Rose.
Oh, back block picked up by Speedlejuice.
That is loss of lead then. This jam is going to be 2 minutes.
Tegan and Scaria screaming around. Offense coming for Rose, courtesy of Macias and I believe Ripley.
So in that previous jam, we had seen the hit and quit technique be used, but you're not going to see that happen this time because we do not have a lead. That's going to force 2 minutes worth of gameplay. Both jammers eligible to pick up points every move past this.
And Tegan and Scaria threw on another scoring pass. That's a scoring pass as well for Speedlejuice.
When that pack gets tight on those turns 1 and 2 there, jammers are often caught behind their own players as much as they're caught behind opposing players. That push to the outside was a forearm penalty there on
that would be
Rose
Ripley.
blocker.
Both jammers picking up 4. Time is winding down. 1 second left, and there's the call off by the officials.
We got 8 points to Denver, 16 points to Rose in that last jam. That 30-second penalty to Denver there made it so that they came up with half of the points that Rose had. The current score, as we're looking at the beginning of Jam 14 in the second half, is 98 Denver, 208 Rose.
All right, we have Andy and Zip as your jammers.
It's the first time in the second half we're seeing Andy and Zip play against each other.
Rosemary's Baby is your last line of defense against Andy. That is a formidable line of defense, but Andy tiptoes around that block.
That is second lead for Denver.
And Zip has removed the star. Some big blocks, free Zip.
Zip holds on to that star, still active jammer. That is a direction of gameplay penalty there at the end of that jam to 306.
That would be the 5th penalty for Big Bang Fury. Macias also sitting at 5 for Rose. On the other side, Clam, Elwood, and Watson Cirabo are sitting on 6 for Denver.
We have just over 8.5 minutes left of gameplay. We've got Polly in purple, Chop Chop in white. Chop Chop the lead, Polly close behind. Chop Chop wants to protect any penalty loss, calls that jam. Sorry, any point loss.
And that is the first scoreless jam of this game in Jam 15 of the second half. WFTDA tournaments provide everyone who loves roller derby an opportunity to witness the most anticipated matchups of the year. Get all the info at WFTDA.com/tournaments.
We've seen a trade-off on leads here. We saw 4 leads go to Denver, then 4 leads go to Rose. We've got 3 leads so far to Denver. Let's see if that trend is going to continue.
Well, we've got Speedo-Juice and Guns. I would not want to bet on who would be lead jammer for this. And Guns twists and turns, barely keeps the toe stops in, is your lead jammer. Stan the Woman, last line of defense against Speedo-Juice. Now Big Bang Fury taking over that particular honor.
That spread out at the front. We see a forearm penalty go to Big Bang Theory. That releases Speedo-Juice. 4 points picked up Rose.
RollerCon is your roller derby family reunion every summer. 11.5 tracks, indoor skate park, hundreds of coaches, hundreds of games, social events, vendors, seminars, clinics, activities, and so much more. See you there.
That is the 5-second call. We have 128 Coco Loco against 316 Evangelical.
Coco Loco moving to the front of the pack. Coco Loco is your lead jammer.
Got some chasing happening. Evangelical looking to catch up to that pack and try to pick off some points.
Evangelical into the pack. Coco Loco with the call off.
That call off does not happen quick enough to deny points. Both jammers get points. 3 points to Denver, 1 point to Rose.
106-point game. 2-to-1 margin. 2-to-1 ratio.
And we have an official timeout right now.
Just looking at our score right now, we've got Denver 107, which is almost an exact half of Rose's 213 on points. Our penalty tracking list is looking heavy as well. We've got, as you mentioned earlier, quite a lot of skaters sitting at high penalties. On Denver, we've got 3 skaters with 6 penalties, Clam, Elwood, and Watson Cirabo. On Rose, we've got our highest level of penalties there is on Big Bang Fury. That's 6 penalties there as well. The rest of their blockers are sitting with most of them less than 5.
Yeah, Macias at 5, Irie at 4. Thorns is the only Denver skater remotely close to trouble at 4, outside of the 3 you already mentioned. All right, we've got Chop Chop and Zip. And Chop Chop.
2 in a row, 5 of the last 6.
Cuisinart's through. He's your lead jammer. And Zip almost through. Coyote, last line of defense.
Coyote with just those lines to try to push to.
Coyote picking up a forearm with that dogged defense.
That's only Coyote's first, it looks like first penalty of the game with that, according to my list of penalties.
And 4 points in the air. Official review called by Denver.
We've got just over 5 minutes of gameplay left in our game right now. When we have an official review, there is a mic out there on the floor, so we will hear from our head referee as to what that review is about. We've got 3 blockers currently in the penalty box, 2 Rose, 1 Denver.
Denver does not have a double-digit jam this half. They've only got 1 in the game. Rose has 9 double-digit jams in the game.
So looking at the points
White is
scored.
looking to overturn the forearm call on White 989.
Oh, all right. Denver's looking to overturn a forearm call on
Coyote there.
Coyote.
I had thought that was Coyote's first penalty of the game. I see our board has been updated. It looks like that's the second penalty assessed to Coyote. Both of those penalties being forearm penalties.
So I was about to say before the ref got in there, Denver's had 1 10 or more, or 1 double-digit jam. Rose has had 9 this game.
Those points are really being protected then by Rose, eh?
Yes. They've done a very good job of protecting their points, and by getting their jammers out quickly on most jams, preventing Denver from getting large numbers of points.
Right, and then Denver is also watching those positions. You can see those jammers really checking their bench, checking the position of the other jammers, that whole head on a swivel, be aware of where everybody is on the track. It's actually a large number of jams that we've played so far in this game. We haven't had a lot of 2-minute jams. Our only 2-minute jams have been due to some jammer penalties. Most of our jams have been around a minute and a bit. Our first half, we saw 23 jams total in 30 minutes of gameplay. So with 5 minutes left in this half, and we've got 18 jams, it looks like those jams have been then played a little bit slower in this second half.
All right, about to hear from the head ref.
The official review is that White blocker, 989, will retain her forearm call. Official review is lost.
All right, Denver loses its official review, and Coyote will continue to sit in the box. So 3-2 pack advantage for Bruising Altitude coming into this Jam 19. We have Guns and Speedlejuice. And Speedlejuice is your lead jammer.
It's 3 in a row for Denver.
3 in a row, 6 of the last 7.
And 6 in the last 7. All right, Guns is through. Speedlejuice looking to hit it and quit it, and does. You
could really clearly see on screen there, you could see how Beetlejuice was keeping that eye on the position of Guns in order to call that off and protect those points.
All right, next up for Jam 20, we will see Polly in the purple, Andy in the white. Still that 3-2 pack advantage. All the blockers in the penalty box are standing, so we should be up to full strength for both teams very shortly.
We've got Pivot Coyote back out of the penalty box. In for some quick offense. That gives our lead to Andy, making that 4 in a row for Denver.
Andy coming back in on a scoring pass. One to beat, that's Sprout. And there's the call off by Andy. Picked up 3.
We're slowly looking at a decrease in the spread between Denver and Rose. At one point, we were looking at a 110-point spread. We're now down to about a 95-point spread.
14-1 run for Denver.
Denver's on a 14-1 run in terms of points, but with just over 3 minutes left, I would say that this lead is most likely insurmountable. All right, we have Chop Chop up against Evangelical.
Number 212, Clam, being held in a pack there right up against Chop Chop. Rose doing a good job of using the Denver blockers to Rose's advantage in that situation. We were able to see a star pass to Coyote.
4th time she's had the star, first star pass this half.
It's the first time Denver has used a star pass in this second half. Quite a switch from the first half where we saw 7 star passes.
Yeah, it seemed to be every jam there that Rose got. Denver passed the star in the first. All right, we have Beetlejuice and Tegan and Scaria. Just over 2 minutes left. Rosemary's Baby up at the front to play some offense. Switches to defense. Beetlejuice getting offensive help from Diosa Azteca.
That was a blocking with the head penalty assessed to white blocker, Denver blocker.
And we have lead jammer going to Tegan and Scaria. Tegan and Scaria gets a big lane on the inside, takes advantage of that. Helmet cover is off, and Beetlejuice is through. Sprout headed to the box. There's the call off from Tegan and Scaria. And we will get in at least one more jam.
We're seeing a familiar lineup here with number 3 in purple, that's Polly, against 5-2 in white, that's Andy. We've seen these two jammers go up against each other quite a few times in the first half. I think only twice so far in this second half.
And both blockers, or both packs down 1 blocker. And Andy pushes to the front, 1 to beat. Andy is your lead jammer. Oh, Andy, a little bit of a hop, picks up 4 points. Coyote with a big recycle. Penalty box, I believe, is empty. Diosa Azteca, great offense, frees Andy for another 4-point scoring pass. Oh, big hit from Coyote. Coyote back, trying to back up Polly. Polly quickly back on the track.
All right, both jams will have both halves will have 13 jams.
All right, the period clock has expired. We are on jam time right now. Elwood on the recycle on Polly. And Polly finds the inside lane. Is your lead jammer. There's the call off from Andy.
That's 2 more points at the end of that jam, making that a 10-0 jam for Denver. They're in jam 23. Our score, unofficial score right now, 128 Denver, 225 Rose. And that rolling whistle officially brings that to the end of the game for us. We have more derby coming up here on track 1. Next game will, oh, I'm looking at the wrong day. Let's see, a Denver versus Penn Jersey. That's a men's roller derby game coming up at 2 o'clock here on track 1. 2 other tracks worth of gameplay for you to choose from over the course of this weekend. I have enjoyed working with you today, Puns and Roses.
And I've enjoyed working with you, Gretel.
We'll see more roller derby as we go throughout the day. Thanks for your attention.
All right. Thank you very much.